a pair of tweezers so that they can pluck all of those pest snails that I'm dealing with off of. Hey you all, welcome back to Fins and Whiskers. My name is Shine, and in today's video we are going to go over some of the most common questions for Otocinclus. So we'll just swim right through it. So a lot of the questions I got are not that common, so I'm just going to be answering questions. I'm actually answering questions from our amazing Discord from the aquarium community, and if you're not a member, do consider joining because we're always talking about fish. I will provide a link in the description so you can go there. So one of the most common questions is, can you feed Bacter AE to your Otocinclus? Now this is a product that basically creates biofilm for you. You can expect biofilm by itself. It just grows, especially on new driftwood. However, once it's gone and after some time that the driftwood is there, it's just gone forever. So this is a product that allows you to put biofilm into the tank, and this is great for Otocinclus. It's very safe. They love surface grazing on the biofilm. When you have growing biofilm, then you can expect not only Otocinclus to eat that biofilm, but also these microorganisms like copepods, and copepods are also something that ottos graze on. It is actually a source of protein. Being able to create biofilm for Otocinclus is super beneficial. Another common question is, which medicines are effective for ottos? Now, Otocinclus are a scaleless fish, so this means that medicines tend to have a more stronger effect to them. They are much more sensitive to different medications and different methods of using them. They have a few things that they can contract, but compared to other fish, they're a lot milder when it comes to sick fish. Now, one of the main problems or illnesses that Otocinclus experience is the fact that people underfeed them. Otocinclus often go starving. A lot of people think that you can just feed algae or their tank cleaners, and that's just not the case with ottos. Now, like other catfish, Otocinclus do graze, and they depend on grazing to get food. However, Otocinclus are a lot more sensitive to that. Unlike other fish, they do need to eat literally all the time. In some way it's a blessing, in some way it's not, because people don't realize that. Or they have other fish with the Otocinclus that can't be given all these food as much as Otocinclus need because they can get bloat. If you're dealing with ick in Otocinclus, or just bacteria or infection like fungus or something similar to that, I love using Seachem Paragard. It's a very mild medication. It's even safe for shrimp and other inverts. And well, I also do the heat method when dealing with ick. Since Otocinclus do tend to thrive in cooler temperatures, if I'm dealing with ick, then I would use Paragard and I would raise the temp, but I would also do Seachem Stress Guard. I love Seachem products. Yeah, those two in combination, Stress Guard and Paragard, tend to treat most cases that Otocinclus may experience. But again, the most severe that tends to happen is the fact that they are underfed, and with this they lose their gut bacteria. And a lot of cases, some people tend to get fish without knowing, but there's really no way to tell if the gut bacteria is gone. So if in your care you're doing everything right and suddenly the otto is just declining and then passes away, it's because it had already lost the gut bacteria. One question I got is, what is my favorite Otocinclus? My favorite Otocinclus species would probably be a tie between Otocinclus kokama and the alligator ottos. Those are super rare, and I wish I could get my hands on either of the two, but I think those would be my favorites. But all ottos are my favorites. The other question is, what is my favorite part about keeping ottos? One of my favorite reasons for keeping ottos is just how much they have to teach us I have been taught so many things just by experiencing their lives in my tank. They have gifted me with so much new aspects that we previously didn't know about, especially the breeding, and I want to continue, and it's probably one of my favorite reasons as well. I don't know more because we need it or just the fact that I love them, but it's probably both. Being able to finally know and experience how to breed these Otocinclus so that it is so much more common, and so that we can finally stop taking them out of the wild and breeding them only in captivity, that's definitely something that has piqued my interest with them. But of course, if we didn't have that situation going on and it wasn't an issue, the other things I just love about keeping them is how much personality they actually display. People tend to not realize or get them just to be bottom feeders, but Otocinclus have so much personality, especially when they're in bigger numbers. The shoaling groups is just amazing to look at. Of course, I'm completely biased because I keep only Otocinclus fish now. I love having the same species tank that I have for them, which is kind of a mess right now and not what I wanted it to be, but we're gonna get there again. But to be honest, and it's pretty crazy, I don't think that I have or had any idea that I would be so obsessed with them. When I got them, I had just asked people about them. I'm pretty sure I also wanted to just keep them as bottom feeders, and that didn't end up being the case. I just fell in love with them. I can't explain the passion, but I just love them, and I love that I can share that love with people and they end up falling in love with them too. It brings me so much joy. I just love them so much. They also ask, what is an Otocinclus' most underrated feature? The answer is immediate to me. I think their most underrated feature is also their most misunderstood, and that is the fact that they can eat and need to eat 24/7, basically. Ottos cannot get bloat and they can't get dropsy, which is my biggest fear. The fact that they can't, or they don't need to worry about how much, and you don't need to worry about how much you're feeding them being too much. The only thing, and the other side of the spectrum in this case, is that you need to worry and be concerned of feeding too little, which tends to be the case. So, since many people would not expect a fish to be able to eat however much without concern, it's also a gift and also a curse, because we need them to know that so we can start breeding them. More people can start breeding them in captivity and finally get them out of the wild. One of the trickiest obstacles when it comes to fish is how will you know how much you're feeding is enough, and if maybe you're underfeeding. So when we read online or even just go off of experiences, it still doesn't tell us just how much you should feed. There's really no way to know. I love being able to know that however much I'm feeding isn't going to be too much, and that they will get full that they will get full tummies.
Oh my god! What is that?
The next question is, if Ottos had to choose a weapon of choice, what would they use in Mortal Kombat? And Otocinclus are such pacifists that even if they were given the choice, I think they wouldn't choose a weapon, but that's not entertaining. So I think they would choose a pair of tweezers so that they can pluck all of those pest snails that I'm dealing with off of their wafers, because the way they swarm over it makes it inaccessible to them, and so they could just use the tweezers and be able to pluck them off and enjoy their food. I'm going to answer another pair of questions, with the first one being, what is my favorite gourami? I think this is like the only one that wasn't about Otocinclus. I actually have kept in the past pearl gourami, and I absolutely love them. I love that they touch you with their little sensors. Those little touchy-feely things that look like string. They love feeling it to see, I guess, if danger or good. And so I don't know, I always liked thinking that I was just like giving them a tiny high five. More like a high one. I think pearl gouramis would be my favorite, but they're the only gourami that I kept. I also like the honey gourami. I think they're really gorgeous fish. They also tend to have a pretty mellow personality, but I will say that I absolutely despise, and I don't know why I said pearl gouramis were the only ones I kept. That is not true. I absolutely despise dwarf gourami.